what's the difference between us holding a Bitcoin and someone else holding the Bitcoin? Still the same Bitcoin, right? But what investors, especially for the public market, are looking for, they are looking for a company, for a team that is able to make better returns than others.
Different people have different things. Like some of our team members, for example, the ZIGChain, and I'm sure at your organizations as well, they are incredible. Like their entrepreneurship skill set are even better than most of the people I know who are running companies.
To be honest, we are all working, but we work for Bitcoin, we work for digital assets, others work for something else.
Yeah, exactly. I told one of the senior people in the bank I'm leaving, and he was like, you must have received another job offer and all. I'm like, no, I'm going back. Like, I want to do my own business, blah, blah. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do something with Bitcoin. He was like, hi everyone, you know me, I'm Rafay. I'm the founder of ZIGChain. And with me, a great friend, Wojtek, is here today. Wojtek is a man of many talents. He's the founder and chairman at Mobilum. He's also involved with BTCS, which is the largest European debt co, and we have been working very closely. And Wojtek, to be honest, this is also first time I'm hosting a podcast. Generally, I'm the one giving it. So, if I do some mistakes, please pardon me in advance. Thank you very much for coming. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks a lot for having me here. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here.
No, pleasure is all ours. So before we, dive in and talk about business and all, why don't you tell, the community about yourself, your journey? How did you, stumble upon crypto? Where did you start? What's your story, basically?
Oh, I have to go back. I'm more than 35 years in business. I started my career in 1996. I had the great honor to build Polish Amazon, unpack.com, which is still the largest e-commerce in the country. Then I moved myself into the fintech space. It was not called fintech those times. I invited to Poland and built 2 companies which were providing trading systems for stock market. One of those companies was called List Group. And then a few years later, I met my friend who was involved in First Data in Poland, and we just spoke and discussed about a new idea which comes to the market, which was called crypto. He said, I'm meeting a lot of young people. They are just going around trying to buy some prepaid cards from the gas stations, to pay. So we found that there is like a niche, and that's how Mobilum started, And our, let's say, story and mission was very simple. The mission was to create a bridge between the traditional finance and digital asset space. And you know what? I mean, it's been 8 years journey, and it's still the same. I mean, we still need this bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you talk about the transitioning of TradeFi, DeFi, and the crypto together, I think this is how you started your thought process around BTCS as well. So tell us a bit more about BTCS, how that came about. What was your initial idea behind it?
So basically, it's the same story which I just mentioned about Mobilum, right? So basically, in my opinion, it works like this, that digital asset space is just another asset class, right? But always when I was building ventures, for me, the customer first approach is always a winning strategy.
Yeah.
So I found that whatever happens with crypto, with digital assets and so on, there is a group of people who are very traditional. They don't want to be exposed, to some crypto exchanges, even the biggest like Binance, KuCoin, whatever. They are traditional. So basically, they need tools which will allow them to expose to the digital asset space in a way they know. That's how I decided that I will step in Digital Asset Treasury company. Yeah. Because basically what is DAT? It's simply saying a wrapper of the crypto space, of digital asset space, by the traditional instrument, which is a publicly listed stock. So that's how the idea about the BTCS came to the life, and we just made it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that you have been talking about a lot in your social media and your media interviews, and when we've been talking about, you talk about not only holding but actively managing. So let's talk a bit about that. What do you mean by that? Like, how is this one different than tons of other detcos, and how do you see this model scaling in your case?
Coming back to the roots of the, let's say, decision about setting up BTCS, right? I believe that just passive holding of any asset basically has no sense, right? Because what's the difference between us holding a Bitcoin and someone else holding the Bitcoin? Still the same Bitcoin, right? But what investors, especially for the public market, are looking for, they are looking for a company, for a team that is able to make better returns than others.
Yeah.
What that means for the DAT company? It means that we need to find a way how we can be better than others. That's why the ticker of our BTCS is BTF.
BTF, yeah.
BTF is like our DNA, because what BTF means, it's better than ETF. So we want to be better than anyone else who just holds assets.
Nice.
Okay. And we found that when I was building Mobilum, that during those 8 years period of time, digital asset space, blockchain in general, decentralization, Web3 is eating the market. I mean, banks, traditional institutions, they did a lot to stop it, but now it's unstoppable. And they finally understood it.
Becoming part of it.
Exactly. There is more and more public entities, financial institutions, they are coming to us asking whether we could help them building on top of it. So the main role of BTCS as a company is to provide a help, a professional services and infrastructure, validation infrastructure for the traditional finance, for public bodies to build on top of it. And this is our main reason. We use DAT, so we collect, we accumulate digital assets because they support our main business, which is validation and professional services around Web3 technology.
Amazing. So as people know that we've been working together, and what are your and you are about to start running a validator on ZIGChain as well. What are your thought process around the ZIGChain? Like, how do you see this ecosystem? You have been involved with us for some time on the card as well. You have been coming to our community side shows. You've been, involved in one way or the other. How do you see ZIGChain, and how do you see that, it can add value to your mission?
So I will start from another angle. I believe that decentralization and tokenization is the next big thing, okay? And I was always looking at something what's called today real-world assets, which means nothing else but bringing traditional assets to the decentralized economy. And when I first met ZIGChain, before I even met you, Rafay, I was thinking those guys know what they are doing. Because basically what you, as I understand, what's your mission and what's your strategy, it's to provide number one, blockchain for real-world assets, for the tokenization.
True.
And this is a narrative which I really like. And I believe that in the future, this will be one of the strongest narratives. And today, momentum is starting. Because everybody, if you are looking at US market, for example, 8 of 10 banks, they are starting offering crypto services for their customers. Digital assets became the main street, Sooner or later you will see Wall Street guys saying that they invented crypto, it's coming, it's coming. So basically that's why I like the strategy that ZIGChain is moving, and I want BTCS to be a player within the space of real world assets, and that's why we started this thinking process and partnership.
That's amazing, and I think one of the interesting strategy around being multi-asset in nature. I think in your Series F you had Bitcoin and Core. And I think in your this upcoming Series G, you have Bitcoin, ZIG, and a bit of Core as well. How do you see that mixing? Because mostly the traditional DATs are either Bitcoin or Ethereum mostly, or even if they're in alts, they're very specific to that alt. But you have gone with the strategy of being multi-asset. How do you see that? That the mix of having some alts coming into with the Bitcoin and getting yields on it, giving you like an edge over the others. How do you see that?
So this is not a mix from my perspective. If you will look from the helicopter overview, you will see that the whole digital asset space has its blood. I mean, has something that fuels the whole ecosystem, and it's Bitcoin. I believe that for Bitcoin, there are two strategies, not more. Or you just hold the asset and you wait for it to appreciate in value, or you try to receive like an extraordinary yield on top of it. And this is called BTCFI.
Yeah.
CoreDAO was one of the first, let's say, networks we approached, because we believe that once we will do a Bitcoin treasury, we would like to have additional yield on top of it. And that's why we decided to make a partnership with BTCFI project CoreDAO. We are not closing for the CoreDAO only. We are considering also in the future other BTCFI alternatives also to work with, because we want to become, as BTCS, the biggest player in this space, right? And this is related to BTCFI, so to the, let's say, bare bone of the whole digital assets ecosystem. While ZIGChain, for us, it's like a RWA. It's a real world asset. So it's not a mix. It's just having a stake in two very important parts of digital asset space, which is, from one perspective, Bitcoin, which is like the main asset, like digital gold, which fills the whole digital asset space, and ZIG, which is like a significant player, in our opinion, in real world asset space. Those two combines will help us to get extraordinary yield for our investors.
Makes sense. I think right now, if you look at when you came up with this strategy during August and September, and how the debts are performing now, and the fact that you have been outperforming the market by a huge margin, this shows that, I think your investors know that, that you have found a different and a better mix, where you are mixing it up in a, again, not mixing it up, but let's say you have found a better tangents in a way which are better than the others. And similarly, like in an extension to that point, you're running a validator now on a testnet, and I think mainnet is going soon. How does running validators on different networks fit into your business model? Is it like a business strategy on something long term, or do you think that this is a great source of revenue to diversify the streams, basically?
I would say it's both. So I don't believe in sustainable revenue streams if you not devote your resources to something in full.
True.
Okay. So for us, running a validator is a play that we want to have, because we want to be the part of ecosystem. In order to build on top of it, you need to be very familiar, you need to be close to the developers, you need to be close to the founders, you need to understand how the whole ecosystem works. That's why the strategy of BTCS is to run the validators on networks that we will build, or we will support, or we will work with and integrate with the traditional asset space ecosystem, right? That's why we are very happy that we started to work with ZIG with this validation. For us, it's like a new journey, because the current validator which we run, CoreDAO, is purely EVM, while ZIG is more Cosmos. It's like a different technology. Yeah. But it's good, because that means that we are open for more than one technology, for more than one ecosystem. Yeah. And that will help us also to bring more traditional finance customers to both.
Absolutely. And I think what I am just, it's one of the thought process that's going around these days, that the first wave of digital asset treasury companies that came in, they were more like a wrapper, as you said, right? Do you see the treasury companies evolving in something more than that, having their own ways of supporting larger narratives like tokenization? Do you see a new wave where treasury companies can come in and they can run validators on new innovative blockchains to really support these massive transactional shift? Like, for example, if big banks start bringing tokenization, they would need millions and billions of transactions being verified and validated. Do you think that the treasury companies can actually be early in managing those programs and be profitable, basically? Do you think that there is a way for it?
I believe yes, but let me answer this question and start from the, let's say, beginning of the thought process when you start the DAT campaign, right? So basically, if someone wants to be exposed to the digital asset space, there are three ways to do it, right? I mean, the first way is just to be exposed directly, have a keys, buy an asset through or just open an account on some centralized exchange or through the centralized exchange, right? I mean, that's something that usually makes people go out of the comfort zone, right? It's people like us, more related to crypto.
Yeah.
Then you have this whole institutional market, public market, high net worth individuals, traditional finance people who do not want to have keys, ledgers, whatever, right? I mean, they just want to have exposure. They have the possibility to go to ETFs. There are like spot ETFs, there are like derivatives ETFs. But in general, ETFs are very regulated instruments. So basically, it's hard to be on top of novelty running ETF. It has to be accepted, approved whatsoever. So it's good to have just an exposure. And if you want to be like on the top of innovation, the third way is just DAT companies. Yeah. Because DAT companies are nothing else like public entities having their own treasury, their own management team, and making a decision what to do with that treasury.
Right.
So I perceive DAT companies in the future as the, let's say, very innovative vehicles of money, of treasury, which can invest this treasury or those money into the projects, innovative projects, but not just like a passive investment like funds are doing, but investments supporting the services. DAT company should always be perceived as a professional services company investing manpower and assets in treasury to support the narrative. And this is the future. And that's why we are different. The market sees that we are different. And that's why, thanks to our investors, we have such numbers which we have.
Oh, amazing. So how do you feel it? Like when you enter into a room, and soon you will again be entering into a room at Debt Summit, where every other manager of a debt is rushing around here and there, talking about how they're barely above or below 1x, and you are 6x of NAV or something like that, I think. How does it feel? What do you think? Like, what are the conversations you have? We'll talk about your next round as well, but how does it feel like talking to other debts as well, compare your model? How's the general feeling around?
The general feeling is very positive for us because, the time is tough. I'm also investor in a few DATs. I did it in order to, check how it is, Before I put myself into the shoes of DAT, I wanted to test it, to understand the market, understand the perspective, investors, and so on. So basically, today they are trying to survive. I'm supporting because, in my opinion, DAT is a long run. I mean, people are expecting DATs like ETFs. It's not ETF. I mean, DAT is a model which will last for years if it's proven and done properly.
Yeah. And these are not meme coins either.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So for us, it's like presenting the narrative, which we were presenting in July, August when we were starting, that the company, which is a DAT company, should be innovation first, services first, revenue first. DAT should support, like Treasury should support the services we are providing to the market, not opposite.
Right. No, makes sense. And an interesting angle there, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was that debts are considered to be very institutional in nature. And while you have gone in the place of running validators, for example, how do you see this balance there, where you see that on one hand you have institutions as an investors or high net worth investor, but technically speaking, you are actually running a validator which can be joined by retail as well. So, like in terms of your marketing strategy or in terms of your internal strategy, how do you think about it?
So is
it a best of both worlds, or like?
I will say something maybe opposite. Okay. In my opinion, institutions will matter less and less in terms of the public market.
Okay.
We all saw what happened with GameStop.
Yes,
when the community starts, there is no institution which can stop it, right? And basically, there are a few institutions which try to stop it. They were shorting, and they do not exist anymore, right?
Yeah, true that.
So I believe that going forward, retail customers will mean more and more and more. They are more specialized. They understand better the market. Institutions will count less. That's why in BTCS, we put much more effort to communicate with the retail investor than with the institutional investor. We believe institutional investors, they have their analysts, their teams. I mean, they don't need us to understand the model. I mean, they should be able to read the reports and understand. Of course, we are more than happy to meet with them, but we put like 80% pressure to communicate with retail investor and 20% to communicate with the institutions.
What are the channels generally you use for these kind of communication with retail?
So basically, when you are a public entity, you have some limitations. So basically, you have really care about the situation where you do not provide some price-sensitive information to the market, to the group of people. You have to do it like to the whole, right? So basically, first of all, we have a web page. On our web page, we provide all the information regarding our activity, what we do. We have frequently asked questions section. Even if some partners of ours, or just news press, or just some magazines, they publish some information about us, we also retweet it. We have our X webpage, we have our LinkedIn webpage. We try to be on top of all the information that matters for the potential retail investor. We are also participating in events. There are in Warsaw, also worldwide, and events which are for the retail investors as well. Why I'm participating in the AT summits and other summits? BTCS was recognized by several venues. Besides of the fact that we are trading on the Warsaw Stock Exchange, on the New Connect market, BTF ticker, we are also an interactive broker. So everyone can trade BTF, our shares, using interactive broker platforms. There are other platforms which reach out to us as well with some questions, and they are considering putting BTF also as a ticker that can be traded on that platform, right?
That's fantastic.
So basically, my role is just to communicate what was already communicated by the company, but in a way that maybe it's not seen by the whole market.
It's more retail friendly and it's more communication like that. What do you think about market in general, like overall? Crypto has been a bit shaky for the last couple of months. So what do you think about it?
It depends on the perspective. When you will look like a broader perspective, it'll take 4 or 5 years.
That's different always,
Yes, I mean, we had like dumps 70%, 60%. Today, we have ATH minus 30 and people, have fear that something is happening.
Yes.
This is very natural process. So basically, we are in very innovative asset. I will give you like an example from my past. When I started my career in 1996, the internet was starting in my country, right? And before I jumped into unpack.com, we were trying to sell web services like web pages for the companies that should offer their services. And you know what? I was meeting people and they were saying, but I have the phone book. Why I need the web page? There is my number, whatever, like the yellow pages, right? I mean, today we are... have you seen lately like a yellow page or some book?
Exactly, I've not that's the point. Since I was young kid.
So I will tell you, this is not an investment advice, but privately, when I see that, what's happening with digital asset space and blockchain is the same what was happening with internet boom that time.
Yeah.
So I believe we are still on the very beginning of the mass adoption. So it doesn't matter when you invest in an asset. It doesn't matter when you buy. It matters when you sell.
When you sell. Selling is an art.
Yes, there is no, there is always good moment to buy.
Yeah.
The thing is when you sell and why you sell, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to avoid some situations of misunderstanding. And there are some things which I'm always saying when people ask, right? I mean, first of all, invest only money you can lose. Don't invest money you have for food, for your kids' school. Don't borrow money to invest.
Yes,
just
very important.
If you have like some kind of the budget, take 5%. 3%, doesn't matter the amount. And just put every month, buy something. You will understand after a few years when you will look at your wallet, how different you are in your position today versus when you were starting.
Absolutely. No, I can't agree more than that. And so you are here in Dubai and I think you are heading to Abu Dhabi. We'll see you there as well. What's your plan for the next week? What important events are you attending? Are you speaking somewhere? What's the plan?
So I am speaking at few Digital Asset Treasury events. My plan is very simple, to convince people and to give them the story of BTCS, that active treasuries are the only way for digital asset treasury companies to survive.
Yes.
DAT cannot be ETF. I mean, they will not win being the ETF, but they will win being actively managed companies which provide added value, because then they will have revenue stream, they will have yield, not just passive treasuries.
Agreed. And what's your plan? Like you announced Series G. So what's your plan with that? And any exciting update on the roadmap that you can share publicly?
So first of all, we already announced that we started to deploy the capital which we raised from the Series F, because we believe that now market will go sideways. Instead of just buying Bitcoins or other tokens, we made a very good strategic deal with QCP, which is a company regulated in Singapore and Dubai, Abu Dhabi as well, UAE. And we are starting our accumulation strategy by selling put options. Why? Because that allows us to leverage the price of the Bitcoin and get additional yield on the, let's say, those options, right? So that's first. After that, when we will deploy the whole capital, we are starting to raise Series G. Series G is much bigger. The management board already announced some plans about it. Because of what happened in the US and because of the fact that we didn't yet finalize the deployment of the Series F, we decided to postpone by 1 month. But the time is coming. And I think that sooner or later...
It's the right region to be working on towards that. No, absolutely.
Correct. We are very bullish on the Series G. We have a lot of interest from the investors. We hope that with this, we will be able to attract also new investors, and we hope that our real-world asset strategy will come to the fruition with ZIGChain as well.
No, inshallah, absolutely. And any question you want to ask me or any comment you want to give to the audience?
So I wanted to ask you one question. What's the next big thing for ZIGChain? I know that there is a lot of news you have.
You know, very interesting question. That's you suddenly put me on the opposite side and right in the spot. No, I think the biggest thing that we've been working towards is this year that while the technological team has been working on a world-class technology, security, and everything, and since the chain is live, but myself and the global markets team, we have been focusing a lot on creating the institutional railroads. And idea is that we want to target the world-class developers. Like you were attending event yesterday at one of the fintechs of the region, and you see how
it was a very good event.
Yeah, and you can see how the audience is very interested in what is coming. So, idea is to multiply it by 100, right, and bring those hundreds of fintechs of the world and hundreds of amazing S-class founders on our chain, and provide them this complete toolkit. See, everyone can provide technology, and to be honest, money is becoming fast commoditized. Where we are bringing our, defensible mode is basically to create those, institutional distribution rails. You must have seen a lot of private bankers and top bankers in DIFC yesterday. We're working with all of them, and then on top of it, the licensing regime that we have been able to follow, we spent millions of dollars in getting those licenses. We are making them available to those fintechs and those founders so that they can build on our chain. So like, if you ask me what's the next big thing coming, I think my dream would be that in 2026, we're able to tokenize and distribute at least $2 billion of assets on our chain, and through you guys, some of them as well, maybe. And I think that would be amazing.
I'm pretty sure we will contribute to it.
Oh, absolutely.
As you know, there is a lot of markets which can be decentralized for the benefit of the consumers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the markets we are thinking is mortgages market, where, people are buying flats, houses, plots.
Yes.
All of those are assets which can be put on chain.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Then they can, as on-chain asset represented by the token, they can become a collateral for the loan.
Borrowing. Yes, exactly.
So basically, we can change the way how people think. Today, we are living in a space where banks dictate, the terms and conditions for mortgages.
Yep.
We can change that as well.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important for me to hear what you are saying, because one of our strategy is to help the institutions, but also the consumers to understand how to make benefits from the centralized world for a daily use cases.
And also in a nice, in a very nice UI way. So like going back to Mobilum, I think that one of these features that you have, I think people can borrow and lend Bitcoin inside the mobile app as well.
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about your plans with Mobilum. What are you looking to do there? Is there any good alpha coming there? Anything bigger you're thinking there?
So basically, Mobilum is growing following the same strategy we had in the beginning when we started it, to become the bridge. And now we observe like there is a growing number of people having digital assets. We see scrutiny from the institutions. We see like AML compliance is getting tighter and tighter. And because we started our journey as a compliance first, as a very traditional way of approaching anti-money laundering and so on, we believe that we can be the bridge for that purpose as well. So we serve as the AML compliant framework, wallet, for people to use freely their assets. So today, they can use Bitcoins or other assets, deposit those to our wallet, they can get yield on top of it, and they can use it whenever they want to loan, to lend, to borrow against, and use those money to spend by the card.
Absolutely.
We are very soon to reach the situation. We are just started the implementation with one of the EMIs. We will provide fiat wallets. So soon they will be able also to pay bills using their cryptos. And this will be a loan. So it's not like selling the crypto. It's like getting loan against, which has two very important factors. First of all, usually digital asset holders, they don't want to sell. They believe it will appreciate, but they would like to enable the value behind. Secondly, it helps also optimize this tax-wise, because when you sell crypto, it's a tax event. Exactly. When you just lend against, borrow against, it's not a
and then you
trigger.
can always repay the loan.
So we just want to become like a first choice for people to use their wealth, spend it in a compliant way. But we will take care of it. They don't have to think about it. It's us who is liable in front of the regulators that we will assure that the whole process is compliant.
Would love to see our chain integrated being soon, hopefully. And, like some of the dApps that are building on our chain are pretty cool. Accepting tokenized assets as collateral, permaport, for example. So I think that can be pretty cool. A lot of, in our community, a lot of like, I think maybe the median age is, I think 25. A lot of young, boys and girls across the world, they watch us closely. And you have spent more years in professional than age of the most of them. Any good advice you would want to give to new people entering in this space or generally in the entrepreneurship space? What are the like one or two key takeaways that they should look towards while coming into this entrepreneurship journey?
That's a very important question. And, when I answer, people around me, they say, I don't like you anymore. So first of all, don't listen to wise people. It's very innovative market. There are no experienced people.
True.
Because history is being created in front of us, right? So don't give up. If you believe in something, just do it. I had a speech in Poland with a friend of mine on one event, and I said one story which I believe is very important. So when I, as a business angel, when I invest in some, let's say, venture, I'm always looking around how this idea is being received by people around. So. And I will tell you something which may be wrong from the first hearing, but you will understand it better when I finish. If you present an idea to the crowd and the crowd says, I love the idea, it means it's a bad idea.
Agreed.
When the crowd says, no, it will not work, no, this is stupid, no, come on, it's a great idea, you should continue.
There has to be enough craziness in it for people to call it out.
I give one example. Do you remember when Apple started developing iPhone? Do you think that people were saying, yes, we want a phone with a screen.
No.
Everybody were saying, what a stupid
Where's the
idea.
keyboard?
We have Nokia. Where is the keyboard?
Where is the keyboard?
Exactly. Where is today the phone with keyboard?
Yeah, absolutely.
So never give up. If you believe in the story, just do what you think is the best and do not listen to so-called wise people.
I cannot agree more to it, because I'll tell you, when I was leaving my bank days in 2015, 2014 kind of time period, and I told one of the senior people in the bank I'm leaving, and he was like, you must have received another job offer and all. I'm like, no, I'm going back. Like, I know I want to do my own business, blah, blah. And he said, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to do something with Bitcoin. He was like, what the hell? You are leaving a very highly paid, where you are growing extremely fast in a very amazing bank in middle of the whole world, and you are leaving for something which no one knows about. And I was like, yeah, it has to be crazy enough. And well, 10, 11 years down the line, here we are.
Yes.
So you are absolutely right. Like you need to have that conviction and idea. If everyone likes the idea, it's a fluffy idea day one, then it's not challenging enough, and that means you do not have a defensible moat around it.
Yes. Let me ask you then one question. How many years ago you left the bank and started your journey?
Almost 11 years now.
11 years. So have you had a single day that you were thinking it was a bad idea?
Nope.
Same
Not
myself.
Even on the worst of the worst days, when the whole market crashed in 2017, I think, then 2021 and 2022. Never ever. Why? Because, we are not in the business of trading. We are business of building.
Exactly.
Right? And solving real life problems, right? That's what it is. Like, there is no harm in doing a job. I say it to people. I say, like, different people have different things. Like, some of our team members, for example, ZIGChain, and I'm sure at your organizations as well, they are incredible. Like, their entrepreneurship skill set are even better than most of the people I know who are running companies. But they have a different risk appetite. They have a different way of working. And I tell people that, having an entrepreneurship skill does not mean that you run your own startup as well. That means that you own up what you do. You take responsibility and you run the show,
To be honest, we are all working. But we work for Bitcoin. We work for digital assets. Others work for something else.
Yeah, exactly.
But working is, something that all the people do, because that's the way how you wake up. You wake up and you do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your job. Even the mommy who is sitting at home and she's taking care of the kid, it's also a job.
No, absolutely. Like I remember, it reminded me of a very interesting story. Back in 2009, 2010, when I was about to graduate from a university in Pakistan, and even before graduation, I got called up by Standard Chartered Bank. They said, come for an interview, blah blah blah. I went there, and the head of HR, one of the nicest ladies I've met in my life, and she was we were having a chat, and she asked me what your father does. I said he's a banker. She asked me about my siblings, and then she said that what your mother does. And I said, no, she does nothing. She said, what do you mean she does nothing? She raised 3 kids like you. She does a lot. And that made me realize that, that's true.
It's a hard work.
It's a lot of hard work, because now I can see, being a parent myself, it's a lot of hard work. So yeah, that's true. Thank you very much for coming, Wojtek.
Thank you.
I think it was fantastic to have you. And I look forward to be moving around with you in Abu Dhabi, inshallah. I think we are sharing a stage on the 10th in that summit. And
will be a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this will be out by that time or not, but before or after, people can know that we talked about it in advance. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here. Thanks a lot.